Hey man!
Hello, ¿qué tal?
Dude, I brought you a cactus.
Holy shit.
A €1 cactus just for you.
No, you're very welcome. Enter, bro. Good, so we are here. Good start already. Yeah, we're here with Mateo today. Thanks for coming, bro.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me, man.
Do we make
so
this?
Happy to,
It's so awkward already.
We had been talking about this so long, about
Yes,
doing
we
a
have.
podcast or some videos together.
Actually, yeah, I think I started my YouTube like 2 months ago. We met when? Like 2 months ago or so?
No, there's not too. It's been more.
It feels like more, but I think it's not more than 2 or 3 months
Really?
ago. Yeah, because I think I started and then I met you at a party. It was the day, like on this weekend, I uploaded my first video.
Yeah.
And I know tracing back, like it was in beginning of March.
Right.
And I think ever since we talked already, like bro, like we have to make a podcast. And we have to talk
Yeah.
about
We
this
like
thing.
we both connected it right in the moment. And we're
Yes,
like, we gotta do this.
We should have made a podcast from there, bro.
Right. That moment, the moment meaning. I mean, like a heart. Like we look at each
It's
other.
just a conversation we had.
Yeah.
I mean, problem is we are not drunk today, so
Yeah.
we have to keep it.
We can get some alcohol later. No problem.
Anyways, guys, as you see, we get really easy off track. So what we have prepared is typically us, like very detailed. We
Yeah.
have a little list of topics.
Super long list. Super well done.
Of course, we didn't just prepare today or something like
No,
that.
of course
No,
not.
not of
We've
course.
been thinking about this for ages.
And we don't have a really good setting either. No, we have some topics here, guys, which we want to address, but still we want to keep it very natural. We want to let it flow naturally. We will not talk, like we will not discuss the topics we will talk about right now. You will just see it naturally.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, the first topic here is meaning, purpose, and happiness. Shall we dive into the deepest topic directly?
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, let's fucking get right into it.
Very good.
Can we curse? Can I curse?
I think so, yeah.
I mean, fuck yeah.
I still haven't figured that out because, I mean, there are YouTubers that curse all the time, but then
Yeah.
in America you're not allowed to curse, I think, like in TV shows.
I think podcast, there's no problem.
Yeah, I mean, Joe Rogan and stuff.
For YouTube, there is,
Yeah.
since your content is rated, right? And depends on your audience.
Yeah.
You want that to be, for example, if you're a YouTuber that does things for kids, you cannot have people cursing.
Please leave my room right now.
The kids will not understand about meaning, purpose, and happiness.
Probably not, no.
So yeah, well.
Yeah, makes sense. No. Yeah, let's see how it goes. No, I think meaning, purpose, and happiness is a topic for us because we both are, I'm assuming right now, but I know
Yeah,
you pretty
no,
well already,
yeah,
considering that we don't know each other for so long, that we really strive to have a very meaningful life, in a way.
Yeah, and we
purposeful
I
life.
would say that we think about it way more than the average person. Let's say,
Yeah.
because I have
We are
these
way better than
conversations
the average
a lot.
person, let's
Yeah,
put it
fuck
on.
the average person. It's like all these lame people around us. No, but I mean, I have conversations about meaning, about purpose, happiness, responsibility with some friends, and I think that, I mean, this is a thing that normal people don't really talk about, the moral responsibility of being. I have an audio of my friend Abe and me. We were both pretty drunk, and I don't know why I decided to record it, right?
Yeah.
And I listened to it and I'm like, dude, who talks about when they're drunk, right? We start talking about philosophy and Kant and whatever and the cosmos, and well, when you're drunk, it's kind of the moment that you do it, right?
If
But
you
in
do
any
it-
case,
yeah.
if you do it, it's when you're super high drunk.
Yeah, but
no.
we do it also naturally sometimes during the day,
course,
right?
of course, yeah.
But it's interesting what you say about this, that the average person doesn't talk about. I think it's true, but I think what I heard in this podcast of Mark Manson and Jordan Peterson, where they talked about similar things.
Oh, yes.
Mark was asked, why is your book so successful, like Mark Manson? And he also addresses topics like philosophy, meaning of life. And he said something like, the average person doesn't deal with it or doesn't pronounce it, doesn't maybe write or think about it deeply, but it matters for everyone.
Yeah, of
like
course,
even
of
though
course.
we might be maybe a little bit more interested in getting different views, digging into
I
religion.
kind of making the thought process and having that timeline in our mind. I kind of have it like, okay, I have this thought that I don't know how to explain. I cannot grasp it, but I have the thought, right? I have the sensation of it. So I kind of want to understand it, have a conversation about it, write it down. I have some notes and whatever, and kind of look at it and try to write it down so I can define, right? And I think that average people we're talking, the lame people that don't think about this, they kind of deal with the same situation. They still struggle with it. It's something that's meaningful, it's important in their lives, and it have that sensation the whole all day, but they don't really necessarily start writing about
And
it.
I think that's fine. I mean, I think a world where everyone would be considering purpose and meaning would be horrible, right?
Imagine going through the street and everybody asks you, hey man, like, are you okay? Have you had a meaningful day? I'll be like, guys, I'm gonna jump out of a window.
Yeah, I get it. No, it's an interesting topic, but I think, I mean, this is also one of the reasons I want to do this channel, is to bring those topics in a natural and fun way closer to people. Because again, I really do believe that everyone can benefit from having a stronger sense of meaning of life without having to contemplate about it all the time.
Yeah, of course,
right?
of course. And in a way that we all carry ourselves and we all have some values that even we don't think about it, they are there.
Yes.
Right? So if we have some way of doing the things that we can just do with it and we don't really think about it, I think it's good if you were able to at least give a little bit of thought and really realize what your actions mean in terms of your values and what that means for your emotions. But it doesn't necessarily need to be all the time.
Yes.
Like, okay, I'm gonna write it down. Why did I go to the toilet right now? Is it because I value more the toilet time than the working time? Is it because I don't like to work? Is it because I don't like my work? So if I go to the toilet, it's because I don't like my work?
Yeah,
I mean,
not overthinking it. Yeah,
yeah,
true.
of course.
No, but I think the reason why we want to talk about it is, I mean, we came to the topic the first time in a coffee, I think, where we first talked about happiness usually being considered the number one goal in life, right? Like, and it's so our generation as well.
Yeah.
Like, be happy in the moment, be happy all the time. Like, this big trend of positive psychology as well. And I think you were telling me that you went through this, but you realized that this is not really what you are striving for?
Yeah, I remember a conversation we had over the phone once, and I was telling you, we were kind of discussing like our generation, and one of the things that I said, and I thought at the moment, I'm so wise, is that happiness is marketed to us right now. It's like Coca-Cola, happiness, right? Or you want to go on a trip and be happy when you get to the trip, and it's like, you gotta be happy because that's what the whole generation and the whole marketing and the whole society is pointing you towards that thing that will make you happy, which is this product, which is this, which is that. And I'm not necessarily saying that you gotta go with that, but it is something that if you don't realize it kind of is there. It kind of is there, right?
As you said, it's the media. I don't know if it's the upbringing. I don't think my parents instilled that in me, but I think, I mean, to go already a bit deeper, at least in the West, it's kind of the replacement for something like religion. Because, I mean, if you don't know what values you orientate on based on, let's say, a god or based on some spirituality, which we don't have much in the West at least, the only thing you can rely upon is this kind of feelings and sensations you have. And of course you want to be more happy than not happy every day in life. Of course, I would choose to be happy every time if I could.
Happiness is the easy question. It's like, are you happy, right? Yeah. So we just, happiness, right? We gotta be happy. And I had that when I was like 17 or 16 years old. I did this tattoo that I have in here. I don't know if you...
Yeah, we will blend in there. We will add a picture of that.
Right, yes. So, when I did this tattoo...
Yeah, we will not. Yeah, Spotify, you can see a picture. No, we can make it as a background picture or something.
Whatever. Or not. But the whole idea behind the tattoo was that happiness is the ultimate goal of...
You were how old?
Life. I was like 16, 17.
Bro, you were deep of 16.
I was, I don't know. But I had this thought, right? And the tattoo, I did it a little bit. I did it when I was like 18 probably. But the thought I had to have it for a long time, and was that happiness is the ultimate purpose and goal of my life. And if I'm not happy, I'm not living. If
you do something wrong.
And the whole tattoo idea was to conceptualize and to kind of write down what made me happy and what would be the kind of things that I would go for, right? So were things like adventure, risk, were things like getting out of your comfort zone, growing, living in the moment, etc. And the whole idea behind the tattoo was, if you are not happy, you are not living. So if you're not happy, it's not worth living, right? So one of the parts of the tattoo, I'm not going to explain the whole thing because that would take me a while. Yes. All right, so for me, happiness at that time was getting out of my comfort zone, living every experience that you can have. I had this idea that all the adventures and how amazing my life would be was only limited to how creative and how out of my comfort zone I get, and it was limited by myself, right? So how amazing my life could be, how many adventures I could have, it was limited by myself. And I had this idea of that it's also related to a little bit of suffering, which was that any problem in life, you have three options. You can suffer because you cannot solve it. You can just say, all right, fuck it, I'm out, this is too much, or I can bash about it, or I can just accept that I have a problem. I can take it as an opportunity and go forward, right? You still have the problem, but the pain is always there, but the suffering is optional, right? It's a way of, Eckhart Tolle talks about this in his book, and he says, surrender to the future. Which is a concept that means, all right, there's something that is happening right now, and that is a reality. And you can fight against that reality, but it's still a reality. It is still there. You will not make it disappear because you are suffering about it. So instead of fighting the world about what is going on and that you don't like, you could just still take it in, accept it, and be like, okay, I have to surrender to that because it's a reality,
and
right?
But why would this mean that you wouldn't suffer anymore? I mean,
because
being your 16 years old self right now, like, why did you think conceptualizing the suffering as in, okay, it is there, but it's what I hear from you, if I interpret correctly, it's like, okay, the suffering is there, and this is how you thought of 16, but when you just accept it is there, it kind of vanishes in its significance. Is that kind of the truth?
Yeah, pain is there, but the fact that you are going to suffer about it now is different, right? Okay. So you can put an example, right? I failed an exam, which I never did because I was super smart, but abort. No. But the thing is that I failed an exam, right? So the fact that I failed the exam is there. It happened. It's a reality, and you can bash about it and be super happy, super sad about it, and be like, it's part of your reality now. So you can bash about it, and be like, oh fuck, and whatever, or I'm gonna start suffering. What will happen in the future? Oh, my parents will tell me something about it, and I'll have to study more for the next exam. And you're thinking all the things that you will have to do in the future, and all the things that you could have done in the past. But right now, all you can do about it is be like, okay, it really sucks, but I failed the exam and that's it, right? So that was my thought back then. But like, if you think about it, all this thought that suffering is optional, that happiness is the ultimate goal of life. If you're not happy, you're not living. I had this idea of the moment I stopped to be happy, if you told me right now, this is something that I would tell people when I explained it that too. It was like, if you tell me right now that I won't be happy ever after, from here, you might as well kill me. Because if you don't live and you're not happy, why would you ever be living,
do
right?
you recall what led you to this thought pattern? Like, what led you there? Like, I don't know if it's going to be too much of a backstory or if you can remember it exactly.
I don't know exactly what led me to this kind of thought pattern, but
I mean, maybe, as you said, this in a way society. I mean, I think the sophistication you had with 16, first of all, was already pretty impressive, but you thought it really well through. Like, you made a big argument for it that one then has to intellectually digest and really think about to say, okay, I go a different route. Like, it's more than the average person say, I just want to be happy. Like, it doesn't sound so dumb what you did there, but you then went into a different direction, right?
So what happened is that thought, for me now, it is something that is very destructive for your psyche, for your whole well-being. Okay. And
how's that?
It took me, I wouldn't say it took me to a dark place, because that's a big word. It took me to a dark place. I was kind of depressed. I wasn't, right? But there was something within me that was tense. There was some tension. There was something that wasn't right. And what I was doing was, since I had tattooed on my wrist, and I was wearing like some kind of flag, right? This is me. This is my tattoo. Kind of the way I was back then. And I would tell people that if I explained this, it would be basically knowing me 100%, right? So I couldn't go against it, right? It would be like going against my own values, right? So I had to stick by it, which means that I had to be happy, right? Because I had to tattoo it on myself. If I'm not happy, I'm not living. So every moment that you are not happy,
it's the ultimate pact you can put to yourself.
Yes, every moment that you're not happy, which happens
Every day.
Every day.
Fucking day,
Like
yeah.
you tell me I'm happy every moment. No, I'm not.
Yeah,
It rained and I'm wet now. Fuck.
Yeah.
But every moment that you're not happy, I was just going to put my happy face, my happy mask, right? Because if I'm not happy, I'm not living. So I might as well just kind of. And I was using positive thinking as a way of escaping negative.
Kind of
thinking.
this kind of fake it until you make
Yes,
it way.
yes.
of
And I was
thinking.
making the whole idea, and I was in. It was a very destructive thought. Because happiness as an end is kind of a circular reference, right?
How's that?
Because I don't know. I think that happiness is something that is inherent of life, and you don't really need to look for it. You just need to realize it, right? While doing something else.
Okay.
So it's like,
all right.
What's if I don't know. I read this example somewhere about how to be happy. It's like asking what is the most apple thing of an apple, right? It's like, well,
I think
it's like
yeah.
what's the meaning of how do you want to be happy? Just like how was the thought? It was in a Mark Manson thing that I found.
Right. But I think I got the idea in the sense of that. I mean, if this Apple example is really the one you want to use, I think it makes sense as in that happiness is part of the human experience, CLC, like 100%, and it's you are characterized by it. So pursuing it or saying, okay, I have to be happy, or I have to do, as you said, like as an end in the end, as an end goal you want to do with everything you do, kind of tells you, hey, without achieving this, you can't be happy. Right? So without doing the happy thing, without putting the happy mask on, without interpreting everything as good and positive emotionally, you are not going to be happy, which in how to say it, in hindsight, as a consequence tells you, hey, look, just accepting how the moment is right now is not happy, it's not good, it's not positive. And this is kind of misleading probably. Or
yes, the whole thought of happiness as a goal is like, it's a never-ending pursuit for something that you're never gonna achieve, because there's always something worth pursuing, right? Or at least there should be. So that took me to this thought of having purpose as a part of this whole idea, because I like to explain it in a graphical way.
Okay.
So I thought before that every moment was the only sole purpose that you had in life, and there's no interconnection in between the possible future. Because if happiness was the ultimate purpose of life, and suffering is optional, then any problem that you have, any situation that you are, why are you gonna be working to get it better, right? Because it's like just a matter of accepting what it is right now. Oh yes, I am homeless, but I'm not gonna suffer about it because suffering is optional. So I'm just homeless, right? Why would I ever go to school? Why would I ever wake up in the morning? Why would I ever go and pee? I'll just pee here. Well, yeah, it sucks, but it doesn't really matter if I go pee or not, because happiness is not depending on it.
And I think just for the people listening, even though this might be an extreme example that maybe doesn't fit to their life, it is very true what Mateo says here in the way of, like kind of accepting the moment all the time and saying suffering is optional in whatever state you're in right now. Can lead you to a thinking of like stagnancy, like that everything is stagnant, that you don't improve, that you don't go further, that you don't actively seek for purpose, for meaning of life. So you don't have to be on the streets to have this kind of dilemma or have this kind of stagnant position. So it can apply to any of us.
I'm putting the most extreme example.
No, but it's a good one that you put it, but just for you to relate as well, guys.
So I like to think about it as a song, right?
Yeah, you told me this once. I want to know what you meant exactly.
So, if your life is going to be a song, you want to enjoy every single note. You want to grasp it. You want to really feel it. I'm a very musical person. I play guitar since a long time, and I have a very deep connection with music, right? So when I'm listening to a song, I like to listen to the backtones. I like to listen to the harmony. I like to listen
the whole composition.
Yeah, you want to really feel the music and really feel that note that is played right now. How the singer holds the note, what emotion he puts in. So you're really enjoying every single part and every single note, right? But it doesn't cease to be a song, right? And if it were just like loose notes, it wouldn't have any. What are we doing in here? It's just noise, right? So you do want to enjoy all the song, and you don't want to just hear it and then oh yes, that was a good song, but I didn't really enjoy it, right? It just passed, right? And I was like, I love that song, right? Why didn't I enjoy it, right? Just because you were not really listening to it. But you cannot just listen to it, because then it loses the whole idea of it being a song. So you need to have a song that you enjoy and really live it note by note, but also it needs to make sense. It is something that you're building, and there's highs and there's lows, and there's choruses and there's high notes, and then sometimes the singer's voice breaks, right? But still it's a song, and it's something that has a purpose, that has a meaning, there's some end that you want to get to, right? So that's how I try to view it, right? So going back to an idea of life, there's an importance of living every moment, but there's also an importance to having a significance for that moment. It's like having a something that you're going for within that moment, right? And that just makes it all kind of match and make sense, and knowing that if you have a purpose, you have a meaning, you have something that you're going for every day and every single moment, then that moment just is more rich, because you know, and if you are true to yourself, you know that you're going for it, and you know that, and that just makes you enjoy it more, you know? Okay,
so Mateu, let me try to digest your song example, just to put it in my words and see if we can all understand it well. So what I understood is that for you, life is kind of a song, obviously, because of your connection to music. And you say you really want to enjoy all parts of the song in its composition. So you kind of see life as a composition of events, or as a composition of the past, the future, and the present, of everything, of the people you meet, of the good and the bad things. And what I think I got correctly, I hope, correct me if I'm wrong, is that in a song there can be sad notes and I mean, I'm not so skilled in song.
There's guitar solos, there's battery solo, there's sometimes the string breaks, something.
No, exactly, but there can be something that is perceived, even when you listen to it, and we all know songs that lets you feel bad in a way, or lets you feel like negatively in any way. And there's some parts that lets you cry for love, but in general you love the whole event. So if I would put this then just on life, is as you said, like as we said in the beginning, the whole meaning of life or the purpose of life isn't necessarily to be happy, to have happy notes all the time. Then you would just listen to a basic pop song from Justin Bieber when he was 11 years old. And we all don't like that, right? Because it doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel like what we are actually relating to. And again, the negativity would be that if you actually feel bad and still this positive song is playing, you will feel even worse, because you feel like you are wrong to feel bad. So that's why, if I get you correctly, you want to appreciate, and I think I like the word you used. I mean, you said enjoy in the beginning, which for me is still close to happiness, but I like the word love. I like the word appreciate. I like the word accepting in a way that you accept the negative and the positive parts of the song. And so it's both trying to enjoy the moments, if I understand correctly, and the whole journey.
And have a significance for that moment that you're living. Because if you were just listening to notes separately, living the moments without interconnecting them, without having a possible future that you're going for, then you just, that moment is a little bit meaningless, right? It's just where's the reason? But once you know that moment has a reason, that you're living that, you're hearing that note because it's building up to that climax, or it's because it's building up to that sad moment, or it's because it's building up to the guitar solo that you love the most.
You know what I also like about it, to interrupt you, is that it has this individuality in it. Like everyone has their own song, so it might be that we both have at one point the same guitar solo in our life, and we have a certain similar
and we have
peak.
A harmonic vibration. We just have a way that we both sound really well right now. I would just continue with the song.
No, I think it makes all sense. A really great metaphor.
I like the metaphor a lot, and it's kind of the same with loving, like a relationship in a way. I kind of see it as you both have a song that you enjoy, that you both have, and I'm not thinking all my love lives as a song. Right? This is not how it goes. I'm not like, oh, her song is not that good.
You're going through the street and everyone's just singing, and you're like okay.
And I don't usually think about my life.
What song do you hear when the girl is twerking? What do you hear?
But I'm trying to continue with the song example because that's what we're using right now.
No.
But in a relationship, let's call it, you wanna enjoy your own song and have it as amazing as it could be, and have the other person's song, and try to create something together that is even better of both of you, like both of you individually, and once you merge them, it is more than the sum of both, right? So it sounds even better than they're both separately, right?
Yeah, I love it.
And there's probably going to be some things that don't match because you're never going to find somebody that matches perfectly.
Yeah,
but
no,
it's still interesting how.
And you could also say like society is like a big orchestra and it's all together. We play.
Oh yeah, we can go.
You can enlarge this metaphor to many parts. Of course, it will have its flaws, but I think it makes sense. It's cool. So to come back to meaning, purpose. So what then? Maybe outside of this metaphor, what then is for you, at least for now? And I think we both. Being, still very young adults, haven't figured it out yet 100%. But what for you right now is, what means purpose and meaning in life for you? What is better than happiness for you right now?
Right now, and that's the second tattoo that I made after I realized that there was this hole in the idea of having the purpose of life to be happiness. I decided, and I of course went through a process. Not like one day I was like, okay, now I'm gonna change. No, it's something that you earn. You don't decide who you are. You kind of earn it, right? So you have to work on yourself, and it's days and weeks and thoughts, and maybe you connect one thing to another, and then you kind of develop this philosophy. So what I developed, and what I think is the best way to go right now, is to have. For me now, purpose is to become the best version of myself, and I love that. It doesn't make sense because it doesn't make sense because you are never going to be the best version of yourself. As long as you're living, you can always improve.
Obviously, yeah.
So it's a goal that I will never reach. I will never be the best version of myself. And that's why it's so beautiful, because I am being the best version of myself by already trying to be, right? So every moment I am reaching this unattainable goal, but by trying to reach it, I am already there. I'm already there.
So it's kind of a goal which is process to reach it includes the goal itself.
Yeah,
already.
Because if I am not trying to be the best version of myself because I've arrived there, I am already not being the best version of myself, because the best version of myself is trying to improve all the time, right? So that's what I wrote in the second tattoo. I wrote the contract of what that version of myself would look like. So I'll read it to you. I think that's good.
Go ahead.
Of course, I tried to make it in a way, because I wrote it at first, and it sounded like
wait, this is all in this symbolically?
Yes, symbolically.
Or is there any little?
This is an arrow, which symbolizes purpose and direction, and this is my signature. So that's why because it's a contract, right? Okay. I wrote a contract of what it means to be the best version of myself.
Okay.
And
now we're on Instagram.
Yes. I was like, what? Why did I?
I was kidding, bro. It's Instagram. Fucking likes.
But I lost the train of thought there.
No, sorry.
But yeah, that's the whole idea. And I wrote it, and the first time I wrote it as if I was trying to convince myself that I was that person. So it was like trying to overwrite what is there. So it's like trying to put yourself in the mirror and you tell you're beautiful, right?
Okay.
You're beautiful, you're smart, you're whatever, but you're not really believing.
You can look in the camera, yeah.
Yeah, you're beautiful, you're smart, you are amazing. Oh yeah. But deep inside that you're not, and you're just trying to repeat yourself a lot. So I try to make it the other way around. So you're gonna understand what I mean right now when I get to my tattoo, which is probably here. All right. So what I wrote down is, I am me, I'm Mateu, and sometimes it sucks. I love myself and I accept myself as fucked up as I am. I am not enough, and therefore I am free. I compromise to push for authenticity, being in touch with myself, transparency, and not hiding anymore. I compromise to accept the past, surrender to the future, and to live the present. I compromise to live for the scars, live for the road, and to live for the moment. To live for happiness, to live for epicness, to live for every moment of person from which I can learn, enjoy, or grow. I am my fear's little bitch, but I will slap the shit out of that motherfucker, grab its hand, and strive anyways towards adventuring, awesomeness, discomfort, and change. In this reality, not a single fuck is given for what's not worth it, and crazy shit is always about to go down. I will do whatever it needs to be fucking done to be as awesome as I know I can be. Because I cannot be the best possible me if I'm not constantly improving. I might not know what I want, but I'll take my wildest guess and work my ass off to get it. I will plow through all the bullshit that's necessary to get there. Because deep inside, I know there is no other fucking alternative. Who's the little bitch now?
Cool.
Yeah,
I like it.
I made that ending a little bit dramatic, but it's cool, right?
Yeah, I like it.
And the whole idea...
For me, it's interesting that you... Like, I was expecting a different text in the sense that you conceptualize a clear Mateo with 30, 40, 50, with clear, let's say, things you have in life. Okay, I don't know, maybe I want to have a family, I want to live there, I want to have this job, I want to have this established, I want to become more confident or whatever. You didn't really talk about the characteristics of Mateo, but I think more about the mindset you choose to have, of course, yes, for the rest of your life.
Because when I wrote it,
because characteristics can change as well.
Of course, when I wrote it, I was like, how do I know if I want to have a kid? Like, I'm only 21 when I did this tattoo. So
you kind of wrote down values,
yes.
Right?
Which is at the end what guides your life, right? Values is what you do, the things you do. Values is why you end up feeling the things that you feel, right? And that's what I wrote down, the values that I was striving for. And one of the most important parts is the fact that it says that I might not know what that ideal is, but I will take my wildest guess and work my ass off to get there. Because at the end, man, we are always trying to make the best decision that we can at the moment, right? And all you can do is to trust in yourself in that moment to take the best guess, and maybe realize in the future that you didn't take, that you fucked up, but you still ever trying to go for that ideal.
That's omnipresent no matter on what kind of stage you are right now in life. Like, we have this here on the list as well to kind of being in the moment and your ego. We can talk about this in a second as well, but I have a similar thought whenever I feel like a little bit insecure, or I feel like I'm not in the right moment right now, or maybe I will make a wrong decision. I always feel like, shut up, Leon. I would maybe be not as vulgar as you are to yourself. I'm also like, I'm a bit German in this, but I would say, like, just do whatever you can right now to your best knowledge, to your best skill, and don't even define skill in you. Okay, look, if you ask me right now, hey, what are you good at? I can tell you things I know I was good at in the past, and probably I have a certain characteristic, I have a certain personality. But if you just try right now to have right now the best conversation with a human being, you will have the best conversation with a human being you can have right now.
Right now, exactly. And
it's just true.
And I think that's a very important
it's just fucking true
thought to have, because I know people that hate their past self. Right? Oh, I fucked up so bad. I'm so stupid. I am this, I am that, I am not good enough, whatever. But it is also important to realize that your past self was just trying to do the best he could, right? And that's what you're doing right now. So by hating the decisions you make, you are just trying to be God, right?
Yes.
You're not going to make the best decision you ever possible, because you're just trying to do your best at every single moment. Yes. So accept that you just tried your best and you failed, and that's a way of kind of being okay with I don't know, with
life.
Yes,
with
exactly.
Life. I think what you say, because I think that's a paradox. We talked about just a few days ago about this funny quote, do we do we do?
Yes.
I have to mention it here. I think it fits well, because look, there's this idea of who you are, and if you are what you like, if you do what you be, let's say you are extrovert, that's why now you have to be extrovert afterwards, or that you are what you're doing, so let's say you are very talkative, so you become extroverted. This is like a big conversation in philosophy for millennia, and it's still not made. And one of my favorite German philosophers, he made the point that it's because one, I think, to do is to be is from Sartre, and to be is to do is from another famous philosopher. And then he said, no, it's dooby-dooby-doo from Sinatra.
I love that voice a lot.
I love it. And the idea is that, yes, you have a certain subconscious, you have a certain personality, you have a past, and it matters in a way, because it kind of programs your mind, and it has impact on you. If you just had a breakup, you will probably not tomorrow be happy when you see her or whatever. Like, it's normal. Like, you have to be aware that your subconscious and your past matters in a way, but it also equally matters what you're doing next. So the idea is basically, yes, you are kind of partly determined by your past and by who you are and your brain and your subconscious and everything. But by doing the next thing right now, you will again alter your brain, right? Let's say, being back with the example, you had a breakup with a girlfriend, she left you, you're feeling down, or you just got refused by a girl, whatever. And yes, this will have impact on your brain, of course, or on your subconscious. You will feel a little less confident and it's cool to be like this in the next moment. But then again, if you choose to be the best version of yourself, if you choose to, as you put it there, to be awesome and to make your life an adventure and to try to strive for the best, this most likely will be making you more confident and more happy and more successful when you approach the next woman. And then again, this will alter your brain. So it's crisscrossing. It's you do what you are, what you also are, what you do, and it's back and forth, back and forth. And I think I've never formulated this thought so deeply like you put it there, and also not, of course, with the same words because we have different ways of thinking. But I think when I have to answer this kind of question for the meaning of life, I think, yes, establishing the best version of yourself has to be key, because whenever people like are a bit nihilistic or they feel like, okay, what is the meaning of life? Why does it matter? I'm just a small person. I'm just a small particle in the world, in the universe. And I understand why people have this thought and then afterwards feel, okay, why would I even try? But then I'm feeling like, bro, this is why you should become the best version of yourself, because that gives you a responsibility, that gives you this feeling of this is why it matters to have values.
And I think like, okay, you're here and nothing matters. But I feel like I'm responsible for trying to be the best that I can be because I exist, right? Yes. So what can I do with that existence? I have an infinite possibility. Yes. And I feel responsible to try to make that the best I can and try to reach for the stars and try to change people's lives and change my life. And I feel that sensation of, I don't know, since you're here, you might as well nail it. You might as well go for it. You might as well 100%. Try to be the best person.
I love what you said. Like Sam Harris puts it, when people think this way of, look, I'm anyways going to die. I'm just a small particle in this universe. Why do I matter? It's kind of a software error, he says, because it's the perception you take. And when you say like, look, I will anyways die, for me also death is a big motivation to make your life the best ever, because like you just have this short time and you just have there, you can create your own meaning, your own purpose by, as you say, being the best version of yourself. And then on the social level, he makes it very simple. Look, that's why I started with this 2 doors idea. It's not always the same concept of my channel, but it's this idea of having, look, imagine the worst world you could live in. And everyone can do this somehow, or for you personally. Let's say you suffer all the time, all your friends will die, your parents will die, everything is horrible. You can have a view of the worst world, and everyone can have that. It will be somehow similar. And then imagine the best world, as you do it here, the best version of yourself, even if you don't reach it. Let's say you're thriving, you have and whatever it will be, like maybe you have a family, maybe you don't, you will have a job you love, you will spend time with the people you love, and whatever. Even if you will not reach any of those circumstances 100%, everyone naturally feels we want to move there.
Of course.
And just 100%. Accepting that this natural thought is inside of you, fucking do it. Yeah. Just do it. Like, what is the, why do you wait?
Enjoy the ride, right? Yes. You're here, might as well enjoy it, right? Yes. And it's gonna end. Yes, it's gonna end, but you enjoy the ride. It's like, what other meaning of life could be apart from living, right? Yeah. The meaning of life is to live.
Yes.
Of course. So I think this is also connected a lot with the fact that I said that you have a responsibility. I feel like I have a responsibility of enjoying and of trying to be the best version of myself. But I also have the responsibility of being authentic. Because
that's the second point now.
Yes,
let's
one of the
there.
topics we wanted to
let's go there. Let's go to authenticity.
Which is that I am here, and the only way that I can make my existence meaningful is to convey myself and try to make my life totally mine in a way that I'm not responding to what I think you think of me or to what other people say I should do or what it is more of like, I feel like if I am not being myself, I am just being a reflection of what other people or of what I think other people think of me. And why would anyone want to see that, right? You have the opportunity to being that unique node in a society, and if you don't, you just the society is missing on it because you could be amazing. You are missing on it because you had the opportunity of being yourself and you're not. And again, the whole thing is just like your whole existence loses meaning because if you're not yourself, why would you ever be there, right? You just need to be authentic and need to try to push to be the best version of yourself, right? And the values that you've chosen, what you think is the best version of that. And that's one of the things that is connected to responsibility that I said before.
I see it as well. And for me, the greatest arguments in philosophy are usually for me backed up by intuition. Because intuition is something we cannot really grasp. It's kind of emotional, subconscious as well. And what I mean with that in that context of authenticity is you have an intuition when you're being fake. You know it. Even no matter how smart you are, how dumb you are, if you're changing yourself for other people, if you feel a bit weird, and I'm doing it, I'm not perfect, I'm sometimes unauthentic, I immediately feel bad after. And it's intuitive. Like, of course there's this kind of fake it until you make it, and there's those people that are better in this, but you know it. You know when you're on Instagram and you make this smiley face, but you're not really happy, you know I'm kind of out of my body. I cannot really put it into words, and I think that's why this whole argument is backed up by intuition, but we all have this feeling of a sense of ourselves. Yeah. However, what I wanted to ask you, what for me is always the biggest challenge in this, I don't feel I know myself 100%. I don't feel I can always rely on this. So how do you solve this issue?
I've had this thought before of, if you start thinking, okay, right now you're drinking water, right? Or right now I'm seeing that you're drinking water, and I'm having this conversation because we met, and I don't know, let me get this
and I'm handsome and everything.
Yes, basically.
That's basically
the only reason. But how do I explain this thought? So all the actions you take are based on the things you've seen throughout your life, right? So if I talk this way now, it's because in my life I've learned that this is the way I want to talk. And why have I learned because I've had input from society, which if you track this thought to the if you track it back and still try to get to the root of that thought, it's like, okay, so I talk like this because I've had experiences that had led me to talk like this. But those experiences are very, very influenced by other people, right? And how those other people have lived their experiences, right? So it's kind of a who talks about it like this? Jung talks about it like this. It's like the collective subconscious that leads us to be whoever we are right now. Yeah. And then you think, all right, so am I actually having a decision of whether I'm having this conversation or not? Because at the end, I'm having this conversation because I've grown to be like this, but I've grown to be like this because of the experiences that I've had and the experiences that others have had and those others have had, and it's just like this network of never-ending people and then it ends up so I'm not free, right? I'm just having this conversation because
it kind of comes back to
the history has come to this, right? So, like, I forgot totally your question, by the way.
No, we talked about like how do you always make sure to know who you are, but I think what you touched upon is kind of an issue of free will as well. Like, there's even arguments that say we neurochemically do not have free will because every thought is like it's a cause and effect matter all the time. So basically we don't have it. But I think, and this is why I like our topics here, we come to other topics after, every time it circles around this being in the moment thing. Because one thing I don't know if you said this or if I disagree with something you didn't really say, but I don't think you can be authentic as in just by yourself, like just focusing on yourself. Let's say, okay, if you would be the only human being on Earth, like an I Am Legend scenario, or you would live on an island, obviously.
Of course.
But look, I'm a big, I'm very convinced of you are what your closest people are around you as well. Like I'm influenced by my people. Like this is definitely for sure. So if I talk with you, if you have if you give me some spiritual input, it will make me more spiritual. And I think it's also natural that we are social animals, that we want people to like us. Not all the time, but let's say you look shitty today, I will not tell you this because I have to start and you don't have to worry. But it's not that we change ourselves for other people, but we still adapt in a certain way. And this, of course, depends on how agreeable you are as well. Yeah. But I'm, for example, a person, I don't want people to feel uncomfortable. So sometimes I might not say what I want to say because I don't want to hurt the person, but this is also because I am like this. I don't want to hurt the person. This makes you authentic. So that's one part. So you get changed by the people around you in a way subconsciously.
I understand what you mean.
And also, and this is what is in this book, Who Am I and If So How Many, you have certain roles. Yeah. I am different with my dad than with you. I'm different with with a girl than with you, of course. So there's different roles as well. But I think authenticity doesn't have to necessarily be described by being true by yourself, but more like, again, by being in the moment. Let's say right now, I want to tell you that you're ugly as fuck, and I will do it because this is what my momentary brain is telling me to do. And if I wouldn't do that, if I would like start thinking and start questioning myself, I think this is what you describe in this kind of unauthentic way of living, then I would become unauthentic. And then again, it comes back to this intuitive feeling of fuck, I know I want to do this, and I have this so often. Like I have this so often that I know I want to do this, but I don't do this because I want Mateo to like me, or I want this person to like me, or I want to be having a good image and whatever, and then I hate myself.
Of course, yeah.
And once you get this thought, this is why I love intuition. It's brilliant, and usually women are really, really strong at this. They have a really strong intuition, which we don't value yet enough. This intuition, it really gives. It's like a sign on the street. It gives you a clear red light or green light. Okay. Go pass over or don't.
Yes.
Because you can be as smart as possible. You can reason and write down everything. If you feel bad about it, you know it's bad.
Yeah, I totally understand. I really agree with you on the fact that this self that we all want to be like just the best version of myself, and this is definitely all the time being influenced by other people, right?
Of course.
But I might have a very biased opinion on this because I used to try to be a different person than who I was to get validation, to get girls, to get friends. So I would, I don't know, prepare conversations or try to talk about topics. For example, I was on a date, right? And I was like, okay, I want to sexualize this conversation because I want to have sex, right? So I would start...
Never heard sexualize this conversation before.
Sorry, it's very
I like it. No, that makes sense.
But yeah, right? So I would know, okay, so if you talk about tattoos, it's easy to start the sexual conversation, right? Because, okay, where do I have a tattoo here? Where do you have a tattoo? Would you ever do a tattoo on your ass? And like, oh, have you seen those people that have a tattoo like here? So you can start kind of sexualize the conversation. But is it actually tattoos what you want to talk about? Probably not, right? But then I was just trying to become this persona of something like who I really was not, just to get to some outcome. And instead of really talking about what I wanted to talk, it was like skydiving, dogs, surfing, meaning, purpose, I don't know, food, whatever.
It can be something simple as well. Yeah,
yes,
of course,
I was just okay. No, I'm gonna talk about tattoos now, which I really like tattoos because I have a couple. But still, it's just like the example. So when I say that of being yourself and trying to really be that person, and consciously trying to think about what are the reasons that you're doing things, and if it's because you're trying to seek validation from other people, or you're trying to display a persona so other people like you, or understand the reasons behind those actions and try to go for the one that feels the most authentic to you, going back to your intuition, right?
Yeah.
So
it's so true. I think it comes back to this. Whatever approach and situation you approach in your life, it is a decision you can take. Is it like, okay, you imagine a clear goal, let's say, okay, I want to sleep with this girl, I want to convince her of having sexual intercourse with me. When you speak like this, I don't know, but you know what I mean?
To engage in sexual
and then of course from this goal, if you then use your rationality and not your intuition, of course you can then extract certain actions like, okay, I learned about talking about tattoos, I learned about doing this is my strength, so I should do this, and then you go ahead and do it. This is a kind of a clearly goal-oriented way of approaching life. And I don't say goal orientation is bad, I also use it for many things. But if you don't have this, okay, I'm just doing what I want to do right now, and I trust my guts, I trust my intuition, I trust whatever I feel right now, and this is how I establish a certain authenticity. If you don't have that, then you will, as you described, have this notion of, what the fuck, why am I talking about tattoos right now? I don't need to do that.
Of course.
And can I talk about what happened on the beach the other day?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So I think this was a good example. Like we went to the beach, and I know we talked sometimes about how to approach girls, like how to get to know a new girl, whatever. And I think we went past a pretty girl. We were about to meditate. We don't say it just becoming spiritual. We actually did it. And you just turn around and talk to her. And I think you told me after that this went pretty well because you didn't think, and you just said what you want to say.
I just felt like I was going to do it, and I usually push, I told you that I'm really, really trying to consciously think if my actions guide me to be the best version of myself. And I know that when I pass by someone in the street, I sometimes do want to talk to them, but I'm just afraid, right? That's afraid. And I kind of think that the best version of myself would not be afraid, right? Would be like, oh, he's just so confident or whatever that he just goes to talk to people, right? And that's why I kind of had that mentality back in the back of my head, thinking, okay, like if you want to go and talk to her, why don't you, you know? And that's what, in that moment, I was just like talking to you, and I had just worked out, and we were gonna meditate, and I just felt like it, and it clicked, and I went, right?
There was not much ego involved in this.
No, I was just like, hey, you know, but the difference is like I didn't do it because like as a selfish goal, like I'm gonna talk to her and be the best version of myself because I wanna. I was just gonna, hey, I just realized that I did wanna, and I just went and had this conversation that it was super nice, and we ended up having this.
That's so interesting. So maybe, and again, I think we are both actively trying to figure things out here. Maybe it is like, okay, and I see it as well, at least for yourself, like the meaning of life as in being the best version of yourself. I think when you talk about purpose, for me, that's always something that has to do with other people, to help and to leave a mark here in the world. It's a different topic. Maybe this should be a goal in a way, but you shouldn't be always paramountly surrounded by it to say best version, best version, best version.
Yeah.
Maybe it should be, as you said, like the goal that is inhabited in the process to reach the goal.
Of course,
right?
Because
so
if you're starting to, then going back to the music analogy, if you're always, okay, I need to make the symphony so good and whatever, you're losing whatever it is that that you really want to do, or that you're really trying to enjoy in that moment, right? So it is kind of a balance. It is a balance. You're never going to be that. Like, it is sometimes a balance in between happiness and purpose, right? Sometimes it's a moment in your life where you are working a lot on your purpose, right? And it means that you might be going through some suffering, discomfort of working a lot, long hours, going to sleep at 3 a.m. after working on a pitch deck or whatever, right? And there's going to be some other moments in your life which you're just so happy and so enjoying a lot, but also you lack that purpose. So I don't know, it's a constant balance.
And how important is for you there? That's something I had a really strong, we can come to this point in a second. I just wanted to finish with the purpose idea, because we didn't really talk about purpose in the sense of leaving a mark and helping others. I mean, for like 1 or 2 years ago, I was similar like you. I didn't do a tattoo, but I was really focusing on this. I was like, and actually just recently I still sometimes have this. Okay, like what you hear from Jay Shetty and sometimes like from Buddhism and stuff, self-sacrifice, to sacrifice yourself to help others, to be the service for others, to help, to kind of, you know, get rid of your ego and get rid of what you need and just to help and provide and provide. And of course, in a, let's say, altruistic framework, this is the best thing you could do because you just help and you sacrifice yourself. But I realized this is not really true. This cannot be the only thing you can do in life, because again, I was thinking, look, I want to leave a world where I have a little impact, a large impact, whatever, but an impact where I feel like other people can live in a way that let them flourish just as I flourish. So if I experience, hey, look, this lifestyle let me flourish. Let's say, hey, I'm super happy in the moment. I have this great song, let's say. I want people to be able to play a similar song or a song that makes them happy.
Enjoy your song.
Or enjoy my song or whatever.
Or kind of, yeah, of course.
And I don't want people to only help people all the time and only do stuff for other people, because I want them to, you know, I don't know, invest in themselves, you know, work on their whatever they want to do traveling, do things that are really just for them. I would never go to you and say, Mateo, stop doing whatever you're doing right now, stop traveling there and having your own experience, just help people, go into a fucking monastery and do this. Although this idea of just helping and self-sacrificing is so inviting, because you strive for something higher than yourself. So for me right now, as you can hear, it's not pretty clear. I still don't have it clear. I definitely feel that purpose and giving value to people and leaving a mark for other people is one of the coolest things you can do in your profession, in most part of your day, because it is, again, it gets you rid of your ego. You know, you do something that's higher than yourself, and it can be something collectivistic with people together. So my question would be, I guess for you, what do you think about this, and how important is it for you in your symphony, in your meaning of life, to help people and to,
Okay, I'm gonna be bluntly honest in here. I don't. And I'm not saying that this is the right way. I'm not saying that I'm totally okay with this thought. But if I'm going to be authentic with you, I don't really give a fuck about other people. And this might be something wrong. This might be something that I'm so Buddhist right now that it is just a realization that is so good and it's gonna take me to enlightenment. I don't know if it's good or bad, but the thing is that this is what I feel. I feel like I don't care about.
Do you not care about what they think or how they feel? Or
I seldomly hold myself accountable for other people's feelings, and how other people how happy are they or not, and I don't give as a big importance to leaving a mark in the world, right? If I die tomorrow, I don't really care if you're gonna remember me. What I will care is if I enjoyed it, right? If I think my life was meaningful, if my life was great, if I think I had a good ride, that's what I give a value to. And it is a thought that I have struggled with before, because in my tattoo, it has a part that the meaning of the drawing that I did means that I want to make my happiness involve other people, right? Because I realized that part of myself that was very selfish. I am not accountable for your happiness, and I'm just gonna live for myself, and I'm just gonna make myself so happy, right? And I had that thought, but I kind of made that point, and I tattooed it on myself, or tried to make that happiness of mine surround other people, right? And that's what you said, and I really, really connected to that thought of going back to the song, through my song, I want other people to enjoy it, to kind of tune in, right? I want people around me to feel support, to feel my happiness and be contagious by it. I want to be like some kind of a
inspiration,
like a source of happiness for other people, source of well-being, source of a space to be authentic, sort of a support. And this, I'm doing it not for you, but I'm doing it because I am this way, and I like to have people around me grow, right? And I'm not doing it.
But do you find meaning when you see people growing because of you?
I find meaning when people start growing because I grow.
Okay.
So since like, I don't know, for example, if I start going to the gym, right, and I think it's good for myself, and somebody else sees it, and I'm like, hey, that's actually something that is very helpful, and he seems pretty happy with it, so I might as well try it. And what I'm not gonna do is take you to the fucking gym, because that might not feel authentic to you. You don't want to go. I'm just trying to impose my values on you. Be like, oh, you need to go to the gym because this is good. Bam. Here's my value, and now gym is good, and this is the value that I've developed, and now you have to have that value, because I think that's my way of helping, right? So I really think that I am a little bit detached to that part of myself, of being compassionate, of being willing to live life for others, right? I am very detached to that part of myself of, oh, okay, I'm gonna do this for you, and it's solely because I know that you're gonna be happy.
But bro, I think that's great. Even though we are very different in this, I'm a big fan of what we said earlier, that everyone has a kind of place in the world and doing the best version of who you are. And if you are into personality, you might even could make a point that this is because you're very low in agreeableness or compassion. This can be even something genetically and whatever. Like, I wouldn't judge you as being a worse person because you don't say, look, I'm sitting down, I'm thinking of how can I help this person right now, because then if you would live like this, there would be only coaches and mentors and psychologists everywhere in the world. And we also need people like, I think both ways of being can help. I definitely also have a problem with this whole extreme coach culture we have nowadays, that everyone imposes your value on other people and whatever, and people always, need help from others and they don't establish who they are themselves. But I think also the other extreme, if everyone would just, let's say, think of their own look, because I think you're also a person that has such a strong identity and personality that is enough in terms of meaning, and like it's enough for you in terms of meaning and purpose to just become the best version of yourself, because you have a so strong sense of self, and this is not meant as in selfish. But I think for some other people that don't have this thought patterns, that might not care so much about this might not be enough to find meaning. And that's why I think it's for everyone different. And I wouldn't judge anything as worse and bad. Like, I think we still need psychologists, we still need coaches, we still need people like Tony Robbins that stand up there and go to people and, we directly tell, hey, get your shit together. But we also need people like you that say, hey, look, I'm living this life. If you enjoy it, do something similar like me, or don't do it. And I think both have their value, like I wouldn't judge you for that. And that's why it's so beautiful. I think the meaning of life and the purpose for every person can be so different.
Yes, of course, because as I told you,
right?
I've made my purpose to be the best version of myself.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel fulfilled. I really feel fulfilled when I wake up at 7 a.m. in the morning, go to the gym, meditate, do handstands, and then come back home, work on a guitar song, then go and work on my startup, and I feel so fulfilled. I feel like I'm working on it. I'm being the best version of myself. I am doing all the things, and that makes me so happy, you know. But it might be like for other people, like no, definitely that's not what I want to do. I want to go out and I don't know. Maybe I want to go and do like I know a girl that she every Sundays goes to a volunteering, so she gives like food and clothes to homeless people every Sunday. And I don't know if that will fulfill me, but I don't think I think you don't even have to make this contrast here, or not a contrast, but I don't think those both ideas are mutually exclusive. No, they're not.
Because again, like I think, and I really agree with you, to establish the best version in yourself. Again, we are both very young. It might change this idea, but is quite, for me, even objectively, a really good idea to live by. And if you are a person that is really fulfilled by helping others, like concretely, as in, okay, going to help people on Sunday, or coaching someone, or being a psychologist, or whatever you do to directly help a person, or have impact on society, whatever, then this is also you being the best version of yourself, right? Yeah. So like this is for me, like when I feel like, hey, look, my biggest meaning, and I don't say this, of course, I'm very similar like you in some ways as well, but I feel like I wake up early, I do my project, I have done my schedule, I have done my video well, I have done it really well, I'm a bit perfectionistic as well, as you know. I'm very happy, and this gives me minimum like 50% of the meaning. But the biggest meaning I received so far from this channel, for example, when I got a message from a very distant friend or connection, hey, I really like this, it's really inspired me. And I was like, man, this was amazing. Yeah. And so again, this is intuition, right? And you might also feel cool about it, but you might not give it the biggest thing. You're like, cool, nice. But this doesn't make you or me better. Yeah. It's not about this. Again, as long as you don't hurt people, obviously. Establishing the best version of yourself is a pretty good, solid goal, I would say. Yeah, that's cool. How I make it. Cool, bro. Let's see. Wait, is that still running? Yeah. I think we have a few topics left. Authenticity, we talked about. Meaning, purpose, happiness. Yes, I want to talk about this. So, acceptance and self-development. So, we talked briefly about it. The concept is basically, and I struggle with that we have this big self-development nature nowadays. That like all the coaches that are out there that say be the best version of yourself like us, but also, you know, wake up earlier, date those women, work out, eat healthy, do everything you can to be, you know, really the best version of yourself, like especially like very masculine values sometimes, and do this and this and this and this and this, and if you don't, you kind of have to judge yourself, kick your ass. This is the self-improving part, which is very big also on YouTube and the whole social culture we have. Everywhere. And then I feel on the other side of the psychological framework, you have the self-accepting part to say like, okay, be good with your weaknesses. Maybe a bit of the Buddhist thing as well. Be good with your weaknesses, accept your weaknesses, accept when you do a problem, a mistake. And I always feel like we just naturally expect people to have a balance of this and to have both. But in my rational brain, it doesn't enter. Like if you, and I read this article, the guy had a similar problem. By being always self-improving, you kind of lose not self-confidence, but not self-respect. How does that call? Acceptance? No, not self-acceptance. You lose self-esteem, because esteem is the concept of what you think of yourself. And for me, it's logical. If I think, for example, hey, I should be way more bumped up with my muscles, and I should go way more to the gym, I have to dislike what I'm right now. Yes, of course. In my rational brain. Maybe it's wrong, but so how do you conceptualize in your world, maybe you can find example as well, self-improvement and self-love, accepting and this kind of stuff? I think that it is impossible. You can't. Perfect, let's go. Bye guys. That's it. That was everything for it. You can't. There's no way that you can totally accept who you are and still thrive to be someone else. Or someone better. But I during the whole time that you were explaining this, I was thinking about chaos and order, yin and yang, right? So chaos is that part of nurturing growth, but if you get too much into chaos, you get into a lot of discomfort,
you get into a situation that you are not able to handle. If you get too much into chaos, it's going to be stressful, it's going to be overwhelming, it's going to destroy you, right?
And do you picture chaos as a self-improvement part?
Yes, I do. In the counterpart, too much order, it's going to make you weak. It's going to allow you not to improve anything. It's just going to keep you stagnant. It's just going to, right? So you might be very accepting of yourself, but you can also be very accepting of yourself being a homeless man. And it's not disrespecting the homeless people that are watching these, but
no, we should make a clear note. It's not good to be homeless. It's
exactly,
not judgmental, but
and you could be
you
super
should
accepting.
strive to be outside to be homeless.
You could be, I'm so accepting of myself that I'm homeless.
There's a German guy. In Germany, we have a thing called Hartz IV, which is basically state support of people that are jobless. In Germany, we subsidize a lot of this, and he's well known as the most famous state subsidized user. So he only lives from the state, from our taxes. He gets his 400 or 500 euros, and he's okay with that. Right? And he's like projecting to people, I'm just happy, I live here alone with my dog, I smoke my cigarettes every day, and it's sad to me to see,
He can be that way, but it is also true that he's stagnant, he's stuck, he's there, and he's not thriving for
he
better,
gave
right?
up. He gave up.
Exactly. So that's the two phases that we're facing, right? So self-improvement, chaos, self-accepting, order, and this is something that I stole from Jordan Peterson. Meaning lies in between the line of chaos and order.
Of course.
And that is something, there's no balance in there. You cannot be perfectly balancing between chaos and order. You can fuck up and go too much into chaos, or be like go to the gym and wait and just put too much weight, and then you'll be fucked up the next day, so you cannot walk. Or you can, and then you will be like, okay, I might not want to do this a lot, right? I might want to just balance a little bit, right? So you have to keep one foot in chaos and one foot in order, right?
Yes.
Because I think about it as you need to get or try to jump into chaos as much as you possibly can handle.
Yes.
Right? Which means that you will go for as much growth as you can. And
by not collapsing,
yeah, because if you try to do too much, if you're, for example, I don't know, I'm a little bit self-conscious about the way I thought, and sometimes I stutter a lot, and sometimes the way I phrase ideas are not the best.
I really can't imagine this actually, because it's very fleety, but
But then if I just go too much into that mindset, I am going to start hating myself, right? And be like, fuck, I really suck.
It's so hard to find this balance. I mean, it's so complex. I mean, I think to really understand the whole complexity, one has to read also the Maps of Meaning. You didn't, right?
I didn't read Maps of Meaning.
But I think this is even deeper there. I mean, whether it's order and chaos or yin and yang. I don't know if it's the same, but I think it's similar ideas. It's so hard because yes, I agree with you. You have to have one foot in both. But then I think there's different people. Right? And like there's some people that just naturally need more order and naturally need more chaos because maybe they have a proclivity to be more anxious, and that's why being way too far in chaos would be a change for them, or a struggle for them. And on the other side, this is something I asked in my podcast recently, that's giving even more complexity, is two things, sorry. The first thing is, I think it's also depending on where you are in life. For example, in your 20s and your in your development period, it's probably natural to be more in the chaos part because you want to try things out, you want to experiment. Later on, when you have a family, if you want to, you have more responsibility for others, so you cannot try so many things out as well. This adds to the complexity. So your personality, your temperament, the stage you are in life, and the third thing for me is then on the social level, because look, this chaos and order also applies to left and right in a way. We need the people that want to change, and we want the people that want to maintain. Revolutionaries, right? And we want on a social level both. We want the crazy people that want to change all the time, and we want the people that want to maintain all the time. So personally, we might want to strive for balance, but on a social level, we need certain individuals that are fucking not in balance because they want to improve all the time. Yes. So how do we maintain this? It's a fucking big mess for me.
Crazy.
It's a big mess. I mean, because for example, I see myself as someone that is definitely more on the chaos part, and although I have proclivity for anxiety, I just love to think of new ideas, to disrupt things, to disrupt thoughts. I know it's not doing me well always, but I feel it's a kind of sense of purpose for me. And I know I will always be rather in the chaos part, and probably even when I'm older. And that's why, for example, in a partner, ladies. No, I'm seeking for someone that is more striving for order.
Yeah.
And it's more for the balance part, because I feel this could give you a balance.
Yeah, I think that's
so
something
this
really
thing is
too.
this balance thing is incredibly complex, because you have the personality, you have the stage in life, and then you have the social level, and then you have the connections with other people. What the fuck?
Yeah, it is crazy. Well, one thought that I had while you were explaining this,
Yeah.
in relationship to the stage that your life are in, was, I don't know what rule number it is from Jordan Peterson's book. It is don't bother children when they are playing skateboard, or something 10
like 10
that.
or 11 or something like that.
Yes.
You're so nerds,
Yeah,
bro.
I don't, but man, this has so much to do.
Yeah.
Because what you're doing by when you the whole rule explains that when children are playing, right, and you kind of don't allow them to push for the limits, you are limiting their growth, right? And that's why I think that's why I said that you should get as much chaos as you are able to handle, because you constantly want to be trying that limit, right? You want to be like, oh fuck, I went to this party, didn't know anybody. I didn't feel comfortable. I actually felt a little bit weird. And maybe you think, okay, I'm probably not going to go to parties alone that I don't know anybody. But you test it, right? So you know that's your limit, right? And maybe you start doing other things, and maybe you will end up going to a party that you don't know anybody, and you will feel so comfortable, right? So I think that being in that edge is so important. And I think that there's a, I don't know if I am especially sensitive to it, because I'm very stupid sometimes, and I do very stupid stuff.
Okay.
I jumped out of a window in Sweden, and probably this is my way of trying to convince myself that I am doing not stupid stuff, but it is my way of trying to get to that limit of what is that I'm comfortable with, what is it that I can achieve. And I think that I am especially sensitive to people that limit that. They are like, no, don't do this because it could be bad for you, or don't try to go to this startup. You're gonna fuck up and you're gonna end up poor. Don't open the YouTube channel because you're not gonna make it, and at the end you're just gonna throw this super good job that you had, and it's not gonna go. And you just like I am always encouraging people to go for the chaos all the time, because
this is your role. This is your role in a way. This comes back to the social self you have. Like, for example, without judging you, if we would only have Mateos in the world that always tell people do this, probably there will be some things badly happen. And this doesn't mean that you are bad. But look, that's why you have a Mateo in a group, and you have maybe a different person in a group. And probably it's necessary that you have, as you said, an intuition that you hate this limiting.
Yeah.
That you just fuck
I don't like it.
And it's cool.
I feel
and embrace it. Embrace it in a way but then again, this is the complexity of life. Like, embrace it in a way that you say, hey, look, I do my thing still. I still, tell people, or try to inspire people to do those things that way, by still accepting that the other person, the other person, and I know, bro, you're speaking to a German right now. Like, I could be even more German. Like, the other person is more limiting, and no.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Like, I think it's
important.
It's important, but it's such a complex issue that I also feel with myself. Yeah,
and also has to do a lot with my personality, since I am. We took the same test that you have in your channel, and I am very low in neuroticism. I am like 2 percentile, 3 percentile, and I'm very low in all that is related to what
restricting things.
Exactly. What were the characteristics? Neuroticism.
You mean the 2 parts of neuroticism, like withdrawal and volatility, like
yes, I'm very low
anxiety.
in all that, which means that I can handle chaos. I can handle being in a startup and not making any money. I can handle going to a party and not knowing anybody. I can handle the discomfort of going up to somebody and say, hey, you're beautiful, I like you.
It's cool. That's amazing.
And I am trying to grasp as much as I can, but people might not be able to handle that, right? So it is also important to understand that I always push, and anybody else. I always push anybody like to go for the chaos, right? Chaos and just grow.
Your personality result already indicates that you are quite an extreme person, which is not bad. It's just the way you are, and it's also my opinion, and that's why I like hanging out with you as well, because I like having different people, and I think in that sense we are very similar. That we are both very extrovert. I had to again, I don't like those tests because they judge you too much. But like I have this bigger neuroticism part, so it's a bigger struggle for me. And for example, my neuroticism helps me again to be when I want to help people with those issues, and I can help them, I can understand it, and I can be the person that is kind of trying to give harmony to everyone. And you need both kind of characteristics in people. You cannot have only Mateos, you cannot have only Leons, you cannot have only people. There are even people that are super low on extroversion and super high neuroticism. What do we tell them? Fuck off? Yes, let's do it. Die! No, you know, they all have their significance, although we don't agree with them personally, right? So I think this is why it's again important to I think this should be important for everyone to expose yourself to very different people. And on one hand, of course, connect yourself with a group of people that have similar values than you and that, as you said, don't limit you and don't judge you. So you don't have to try 5 new best friends every year.
Let me interrupt you, sorry.
Yes, sir.
It is important to also have people that limit you. For myself, I don't like it, but I would have probably avoided a couple of broken bones if I had somebody that was more into order, right? Yeah. I'd be like, hey man, you might not want to take that ramp with the bike that doesn't have any brakes. That's how I broke my collarbone.
No, that's I agree with you. Like you need those people, but I think it's natural that we gravitate, and not in terms of friendships or in terms of people we hang out with. So maybe it would be useful to have a friend that you once in a while call and say, hey, you know, I'm very theoretical right now, but maybe this person is more orderly. But it's natural that you are with those people. But in terms of, hey, who you get to know new, or what people you get exposed to, what content you follow on social media, super important. For example, I'm consciously trying to, you know, go to Daily Wire, to Ben Shapiro, to the right-wing people, and then David Pacman, left-wing people, and listen to all of those people on the political scale, because I know what I'm naturally gravitating to. Right-wing, of course. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm naturally gravitating to the middle, so for me it's already natural, but I think for all of us it's important to get those different impressions. Again, because it would be kind of foolish and a bit narcissistic to already understand who you are 100%.
Of course.
So it might be that in 5 years you realize, maybe there is a little part of me that is a bit more order, and great that I talked to this person about it. And he convinced me to, or she convinced me to be more like this, and now I'm like this and I like it. Although it comes from externally, my intuition told me, hey, great.
Of course. You know? I definitely need these people around me, the ones that do stop me. Because it's important to have that balance. But it is also important to notice that, and this is something that came up to my mind when you were talking, that you want to avoid a little bit confirmation bias, in a way that I am always connecting a lot with people that push you forward, right? Go do that startup, right? And I'm like, I follow that person's advice, and then the other one, no, he's just limiting, right? And because you always tend to remember and go for the opinions that confirm what you really believe. So it is also, as you said, just confirming and going 100% with what you said right now. You want to expose yourself to as many point of views as possible, and as many different people as possible have around you, like this balance, as you said, this societal balance between all different chaos and order, personalities, points of view, and everything. Because that's, at the end, what is going to allow you to at least make better decisions.
But isn't that then maybe a good approach? I love that our conversation kind of circles around a certain core. I cannot really explain what it is, but I love that. For me, I feel everything is connected to what we talk about.
100%.
It comes back to doobie-doobie-doo. For me, one thought I have right now, like, because we talked about this self-accepting, self-improving, finding yourself in the world, finding a balance, all of this. And for me, it again comes to, and maybe this is one approach to get the foot on the edge of chaos and order, is to expose yourself to other opinions, go out there, try new stuff, but then also to consciously take time and step back, listen to your intuition. Okay, let's be practical. Let's say you met 10 people this week. You know, you usually hang out with people that always push you to do more and more and more. From those 10 people, there were like 5 people this time that are more limiting. Let it sink in. Feel like, okay, try to listen to your intuition with meditation, with all the tricks and let's say tools we get from things like Buddhism, and then let the change happen to you and realize, okay, tomorrow I'm a new version. Like, it doesn't change you completely. You still have your genetical framework that will always be part of you. Did I say genetical? That's the right word, no?
Yeah. When I was genital, imagine you change your genetical like from today to tomorrow. It's just like I'm different. Today I have.
But actually, this is a different topic. But there's actually a thing called, I don't know I have to plan it in here, that actually says our experience alter our DNA. So our DNA can alter by our experiences. But yeah, to let's say you expose yourself to people or to activities, to experiences in your life, you check in with yourself, you're honest to yourself. Let's say you are right now convinced that you always want to push and push and push, and let's say in 10 years you are in front of a decision to not push yourself anymore, but maybe you're too attached of your former self and say, no, Mateo is like this. Mateo always jumps out the window. But maybe you don't want it anymore. So I think you have to be able to expose, let change happening in you. Don't judge yourself, and again, go with this do be idea.
Yeah, it's something that I
really like it.
Yeah,
I really like it.
And it's a thought that I hadn't really thought about, and I think it's something really important to don't.
Maybe you did think about, but you didn't pronounce it, or maybe
I just didn't. As you said before, you said, I don't know, digest it.
Yeah.
But the thing is that. You don't want to be attached to who you think you are.
Yes.
Because then you are limiting yourself to that person.
Yes.
And you're just limiting, okay, I am the person that always pushes always pushes it further, right?
Yes.
And then you're limiting your future self to what it could be, which
100%.
is like a person that maybe doesn't push it, right?
100%.
Or maybe it's just more okay with
or slightly more, 1%. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Like there's always change in yourself. Like I know it's typical say, but the only thing we are certain of is that nothing is certain and that everything is changing, and it's true. Like on the metaphysical or the physical scale, on the personal scale, on the society scale, everything is always changing. Doesn't mean that you are again completely revolutionizing yourself. But again, to come back to this topic of accepting and improving, what I also read in this article, that they also agree it's not self-evident that you can have self-acceptance and improvement every day. So that's why practically what they suggest is you improve yourself. Live to this kind of nature if you want to, but then really plan in. Especially if you're a person that naturally gravitates to improving, which I am also. I'm not a typical self-acceptor. I'm very bad of self-love. I'm always like better and better and better. Really force yourself with tools like journaling, like actually writing down as stupid as it thinks, or going in front of a fucking mirror and say you're amazing. To make those times in your week, in your day, to really say, look, today I improved, and I accept it, and it's amazing, and I love it, and I failed some things, but I still accept it, and then you can go on to the next improvement. But I think to imagine that it just flows naturally to you, it's also foolish. I think you really have to make the effort.
It kind of
to be in order and chaos, to be in this changing moment, and right?
It also relates back to what I wrote in my tattoo, which is I am Mateu and I, and sometimes it sucks, and really sometimes it fucking sucks, right? And I am never enough, and therefore I am free, right? I am never going to. I accept the fact that it sometimes sucks. That sometimes I'm not enough. Sometimes I'm just that little tool. Jesus Christ, full redhead, right? But yeah, it's a little bit of both. Accepting that you suck, but like trying to get better. As I said, we could go in a loop, and we will never get to, because it's a balance, and like you always balance.
I don't know why, but I feel like our conversation has like a complete, like it goes everywhere, but it's also circle. It's like I cannot express it exactly, but I really loved it. I think we are already over 1.5 hours. I think we talked about everything somehow. Freedom, establishing yourself is kind of part of it. I think for me to summarize for me. I love the conversation. I think although it sounds a bit weird and narcissistic, I would love to listen through it again and to digest it, because I think for now I kind of lost structure. Maybe it's because we are both more chaos people. But I think we kind of made a point, that happiness cannot be the ultimate solution. It's kind of a byproduct, I think.
Exactly.
That's for sure. It might be a good idea, again, it's just our opinion, that establishing the best version of yourself, whatever it may be, is a good way of approaching life and finding meaning and a good way to approach life. Exactly. We also said that this focus on being this best version of yourself doesn't mean that you're selfish. It just means that to who you are from the origin and to who you evolve to be. You just try to become better and better and better. This can also this can involve to help people a lot or to help them a little bit. It can help to inspire people just to establish the best utilizable version of yourself in the world. We said this, and then we also came to the point back to order and chaos to say like, hey, look, it's very complex. It's probably a good idea to keep a balance, but we also want to, again, have our part in society. So if we are rather a chaos person, this is maybe our role to be, and this is maybe the way we can make impact, or we can again establish the version we are. So I think we got a bit further today.
Yes.
I don't think we went anywhere close to any end, and I think that's good. I think it's just what I hope of this episode is that we inspired you to think about those issues. And if you fully disagree with us and you think like, what is this redhead and this fucking German guy saying there, tell us. It's cool, and maybe you're right.
Definitely.
But I don't know. What did you think? What was your...
I think that for me, as a conclusion, going back to chaos and order, I think that in a society right now, it is way easier to realize when you're too much in chaos than when you are too much in order.
Okay.
And that's why we should push for chaos, be authentic, be amazing, go for be the best version of yourself. And if you fuck it up, well, just go back and...
Cool, buddy. Thanks for coming, huh?
Right. Pretty amazing.